Welcome, everyone. I'm really glad you joined today's presentation. I'll be walking you through the main monetization models trending in 2025 and after 2025, and how product powerhouses like Duolingo, YouTube, or New York Times are navigating ad monetization and paywall strategies. So just a quick intro. My name is Simon Krajniak. I'm founder of Nuwara Labs, and also I run a few publishing websites where we deal with ad and subscription monetization on everyday basis, so every single day. Nuwara Labs is a company that developed content lockers, a new approach to monetize high traffic sites, especially platforms, AI tools, but also content-heavy digital businesses. But we will get into that. Now let's focus on the main topic. I have a few slides prepared. This presentation doesn't really need a flashy headline. You're likely here because you're already feeling some of these challenges described here. So let's say you build a solid user base on your web or mobile app, but conversion rates on subscription models are often frustratingly low. On the flip side, ads are often an underperforming monetization method. Yes, technically adding more ad units might boost revenue, but it can seriously damage the user experience if not done properly. Then there's a hard content locking that you could completely lock the access to your app or website. Many digital products are moving in this direction, but typically it leads to high bounce rates. High is probably the soft word for this, because the bounce rates are usually over 90%, and you end up losing your most valuable users. And if you acquired those users, most of them become a net loss. So this is the monetization dilemma, and in this session I want to show you how different types of products, from news sites to SaaS platforms, are navigating it. I have a little scheme here. We will get to that. But before we dive deeper into examples, I want to quickly illustrate the basics of ad monetization and yield model. Let me just move it to the next slide. This is just a super simple drawing. So especially I will focus on the products and the less familiar with AdOps and monetization mechanics. So to simplify this, you have a digital product, your web, or app, and somewhere out there is money. It's here, this oil field, or how should we call it? And you want to get to that. You want to access to that oil. And the question is how to extract this value from your audience you have at the moment. So that's where the yield management comes in. It's the discipline that combines analytics, optimization, and monetization know-how, how to maximize revenue. For example, let's say you have 1 million monthly users. On your own, you might generate $100,000 in ad revenue or some other kind of revenue, but with Scaled Yield Manager, you could potentially increase it up to 300,000. Those are, of course, just examples. This is like the super measurable field. So it's not like you are hiring a product manager and after 6 months or after a year, you will find out if this was the right decision. Within the yield management, you can, after 1 month, evaluate if it's worth it or not. So yield managers typically runs A/B tests, tweak ad layout, optimize subscription flow, maybe even remove some steps like asking for a telephone number, which could cause drop-off. It's one of the most common examples I'm using. Or they might suggest switching to high-performing ad formats, such as video, allowing you to reduce the total number of ads while increasing revenue. It's the mix of strategic thinking and analytics, and it's closely connected to the world of ad tech and subscription tech. So they answer the question of what you need to do. And then there are ad tech companies helping you to connect your digital product to the demand side of the ecosystem, advertisers basically via automated systems. Think of it like plugging your product into the cloud of programmatic advertising. Most of ad revenues today is programmatic, which means that it's happening in real-time auctions. Advertisers bid to show ads to the most valuable users of yours. But you don't always know which of the users are valuable to which advertisers, so you need to place right ad tag in place to make the matchmaking happen. It's not overly complex, but it does require expertise. That's where ad tech companies come in. They help implement you the infrastructure to make monetization actually work. So we covered what, we covered how to connect to this basically pipeline. So that's the foundation of the most ad monetization strategies today. So when we talk about high traffic site monetization, the lion's share of ad revenue flows through Google AdSense. I can just scroll back to the previous slide. Google AdSense or Google Ad Exchange. And there are others, of course, but these two are the dominant players at the moment. So if you have traffic, you can show ads, and technically you'll get near to 100% conversion rates. Yes, ad blockers exist, but on mobile the penetration is relatively low. So let's say 92% coverage is monetized. But there's an issue, and the main issue is that margins are razor thin. There's a way many websites are overloaded with ads. They're trying to compensate for low yield by increasing volume. So that's super frustrating. You get anywhere on the open web, and super high amount of ads just pops up. It's super not valid approach, I would say. I won't get into the specifics of AdSense versus Ad Exchange, but feel free to reach out if you're interested. I can tell you more about that. And so yes, the massive amount of traffic is still monetized by ads, but more and more ad-supported businesses are trying to shift towards recurring revenue models, mainly through paywalling. That means we are moving from nearly full monetization coverage via ads to models that rely on 1 to 2% conversion via subscriptions, which is again the area of frustration of many digital businesses. So the conversion rate depends heavily on the traffic quality and the product quality, but in general it's very low. Still, many companies are leaning to hard paywalls, as I listed here. Platforms like Ahrefs, SimilarWeb, Financial Times, which is the news publisher, or Adobe Creative Cloud as an example of platform you cannot really use in a freemium model. So now in this section of presentation, I will show you some examples. How does it actually look like on the websites of these publishers? Let's start with SimilarWeb. So here we are. In the first section of the funnel, most users are landing to websites or products like this because they want to analyze competitors. Most of the users, they want to get just some high-level information. What's the traffic of the competitor? What's the traffic source of the competitor? So let's try to search theguardian.com. Yeah, and now I'm basically locked. So if I want to see just super high-level information, I'm probably not ready to convert. I would never pay subscription for a tool like this. Let's suppose I'm in that situation that I would never pay. I just want one simple information. But this product, SimilarWeb, is not giving it to me. So I will try to find it elsewhere, or I will use ChatGPT, and probably ChatGPT would result in not so precise information, but still it's good for my decision making. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bounce. I don't care. I don't want to give my email address. The funnel, the registration is too exhausting, too long. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. So I'm gonna exit. Let's take a look at another site out of my little list. So Financial Times. Here it is. Which article could be interesting for us? Okay, there is some issue with Tesla at the moment, so let's take a look at it. Yeah, I want to read it. Not today, sorry guys. This is again example of hard locking, hard paywalling. So I can basically read a headline, and that's pretty much it. I need to pay. Price is super low. Again, I probably could leave off €1 a month, or one-time payment of €1 deducted out of my credit card. By the way, it's 69 euros after. But the issue really is that the funnel, the process is too long, too exhausting. It's not worth it for the most of the users. So I'm gonna exit. I'm just gonna briefly jump to show you how New York Times is dealing with this model. It's really similar, but not exactly. So let's look at this article. So New York Times allows me to read at least headline and some preview. So here it is. but they are still doing this kind of a soft locking that I need to give them email address. If I would do so, they would let me probably read that one article or a few more articles, and then they would try to convert me. Again, not an ideal situation, because yeah, I had some time to read this, or I could probably find some way to hide this from Google Developer Console, but still it interrupts me. I don't want to read it, so I'm going to exit. What else? So Ahrefs, it's the similar situation than the SimilarWeb. Adobe Creative Cloud still don't have any type of freemium model. New York Times, we saw at least the preview. We don't need to pay to get to the content, so it's generating much higher conversion rate than with hard locking, but still not ideal. But more obvious examples in soft locking are here. So in New York Times, I showed you. So let's do Duolingo. This is an example I personally love. Here it is. Yeah, let's switch this to English. Czech is probably not the ideal for this presentation. Let's get started. I want to learn Spanish. Beautiful onboarding, by the way. Absolutely adore it. So cute. Let's continue. Yeah, let's lie a bit. News. Support my education. I'm new to Spanish, which is true. Continue. 5 minutes a day. Yeah, I'm not going to give you the notification authority. Let's start from scratch. Let's stay motivated. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so here we are. No email address, nothing. Straight into the product. Which one of these is the man? I would say I'll check. Keep going. El Nino. Yeah, so it's working. It's working. Nothing needed, which is boosting the percentage of the users in the funnel. So they will probably try to convert me after in the process, or they will try to display an ads for me, which will generate at least some revenue out of those users they acquired. Now they didn't pay for me, but most of their users are probably acquired through some campaigns. So they would not lose 99% of the users and had literally zero revenue of them as these sites. So this is the much more valid use case. Finally, now let's talk about the big one. Honestly, my favorite example, YouTube. It's a masterclass in both ad revenue generation and in getting users to pay for subscriptions. Their model is double-edged sword. Let's say I'm looking for something practical, like how to replace a headlight bulb on a Toyota Camry, which is a common car. So Toyota Camry headlight bulb replacement. Yeah. So I really need this information. I'm highly motivated to watch the video, but before I get to the content, I'm hit with video ads. Let's try this one. Yeah, sometimes there's one, sometimes two, and they can be 30 seconds or more long with sound, often unskippable. Then after or during the video, there are mid-rolls. This is where YouTube model shines. And it's not just about, yeah, you see another one here. It's not just about ad monetization, it's strategic pressure. They're confident that you can't get that same content elsewhere. So they're okay with pushing harder. If you're frustrated, there's a clear way out. Subscribe to YouTube Premium, right? And guess what? It's working brilliantly for them. This is the key takeaway. YouTube monetizes attention with both ads and subscriptions. And the ad experience is intentionally heavy to nudge user towards paying. That's why I believe that soft-locking content with ads or this kind of adwalling is something more digital products should explore. chances are that you have unique content or value your competitors don't. That's your leverage. The question is, are you using it? So ask yourself honestly, what's truly real value your product delivers to user? And if you can't find a strong answer, maybe your product isn't differentiated enough. In the coming years, with tools like ChatGPT and platforms like Meta and TikTok, low value content will get crushed. So it's not just about having value, it's about monetizing it properly. And if you're not confident enough to monetize with soft locking for ads or ads, you're probably not ready to implement hard paywalls either. So you are not in the situation you can afford to lose 90% or 98% out of your users. It's not worth it. So here's my suggestion. Start small, test simple low friction methods of soft paywalling or adwalling. I can show you how later. Because if you're not thinking about this now, honestly, you might be in trouble later. I'm sure you realize it. And again, YouTube is best real world example I can give you right now, and one of the most powerful. So guys, let's think of a few examples. I'm going to show you what I would personally do. This is the example website, najpravo.sk. It's the specialized news magazine for lawyers, judges, and prosecutors. So super conservative target group. So we have a homepage where many of the users are landing. So what possibly could be soft-walled or ad-walled here? There are a few examples. So let's open some article. Obviously, the most common one, they have some access for subscribers here. You can create the different tiers of subscriptions they are having here. So if I want to unlock the article, there are a few options. We could do hard walling. So let's imagine we would completely cover the content. Conversion rate super low. You're blocking search engines to explore your content, so you're losing traffic. You're giving the search engines the signal that users are bouncing, so the information for them is not relevant. Maybe it is, but search engine thinks that it is not because they are not getting the information. So they will start to recommend another sources of your competitors. Another way is soft paywalling, like we saw at New York Times. So after I would click on unlock the article, some model would appear that I need to add an email address. So at least the user, which happens to be here, would get into the database. I could send him newsletters. I could potentially have the user ID, so I could notify him around the website when user will come later about some discounts. So much better than hard paywalling, but still not ideal. If the user is really cold, maybe it's the first visit, I would advocate for adwalling. So if user wants to see the content, let's say we would display the user this short ad. So after unlocking short ad displayed, content is granted, content access is granted. We can also communicate some message. Thank you for supporting the project. Consider logging in. Now we have access for the 1 day, many games we can play with the user. So this is just the article, but let's go back to the homepage. So I see that there are some calculators here. So this is the calculation of the court fees. So how much basically you would pay if you sue someone and you want to ask some money. So usually there is some court fee as the percentage of the required amount of money you need to pay to prove that you are serious about this. So I'm gonna do this. Now, straightforward. Again, many visitors are going to this homepage because they want to see this calculation. If we would hard lock it, we would lose the most valuable targeted users of lawyers or advocates. We don't want to do that. So let's try to not block them this heavy. Login, also, we would lose probably 50-60% out of those users if we would ask just for an email. And also many of those users which are already logged in, which are already registered, sorry, are not logged in, and we would prompt them again. Not ideal. So adwalling is great, and after the ad is played, we could again communicate some message that consider logging in. You will have free access, and we will not show you those ads anymore. Actually, on these sites, we have implemented the method where logged in users don't see any type of ads, and it's working great. it's a great argument to promote subscriptions as well. So how can this method of locking look like? Let's say this is the calculator of PayPal fees. I want to see fee for, I want to see the fee for this amount. So if I want to calculate, this model is being displayed. Now we can communicate some message about the ad has to be played, or we can communicate some message that let's try to log in. We will not show you any ads. Give us an email address. Try to register. We will give you subscription for free for 3 months. We can segment users. Let's say users which are here for third, fifth time, we can communicate straight away that they need to pay. If the user is here for the first time, we can communicate, okay, we are honored that you found our website. We want to grant you 3 months of free subscriptions. You don't need to give us a credit card. Just log in, leave us your email address, and you will not see these ads. So here's the 5-second long ad. And now content is granted. You could possibly say that this is still interrupting method of monetizing user, but the magic is in the numbers, or in the difference between the ad revenue for ad you can see here, anchored, and ad you saw within the content locker, which is our main product. So what is the difference? I'm going to show you. So let's take a look at an example. This is a site we are not associated with, but it would serve us well as an example. So now you can see standard banner ads, and let's count the number of impressions. First one, second one, third one. I'm going to scroll, open this article. Yeah, there is another interrupting moment. Let's close this one, fourth, fifth. There's a video impression, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, I can stop counting. 13, 14, 15, da, da, da. Let's suppose that information I was looking for is here, that I wanted to see this picture. I saw close to 15 ad impressions to get into this moment. And each ad impression has its CPM. Now it's being refreshed, so I probably will see maybe like 20 or 30 ad impressions in a while. And each impression has its CPM, so revenue per 1,000 views. Let's suppose that this one is worth 45 cents or something like that. So it's adding up. So I saw many ads now. And so what's the difference if you would have it here like this, or you would adopt some content locking mechanism? So let's draw it somewhere here. Yeah, let's correct this mistake. Let's get rid of this. So average CPM for ad impression on a general news site, let's say in France, could be somewhere around 1.2 US. It depends. It can be like 70 cents to even $6 or $7, but let's count with average. Actually, the CPM in example doesn't matter too much. What matters is like the multiplier of a CPM for different kind of formats. So let's say if it's 1.2 for, or let's call it 1, let's index it. So it's just $1 per 1,000 views. And this is just a banner. Let's say video has like 2.5. Let's call it like E, its index, right? So 2.5 E, it's video. So I resulted in seeing, let's make this just like this. And I saw, let's say like 12 banner units and 3 video units. So it's, if I count correctly, it results in 12E plus 2.5. It's like 7.5E for video, which is $19.5 or E, or you can imagine it as you wish. This is the option number one. And now let's count with the model where we would strip the websites of ads completely. So let's make it bold, no ads in viewport at all. Let's make it bold and let's make it red. Yeah, so there is a content blocker, which you saw here. So it's this one. Yeah, let's go back. And what's the I revenue for this one? So usually it's 20 to 40 times higher than the banner. So it's, let's call it 25E. Which will result in the some portion of sessions which will trigger the locker, but not most of them. So it depends on the UX. So let's say here, I landed here and I wanted to see this image. Obviously, yeah, this is pretty ugly. Obviously, some users would bounce because it's too low in the viewport. I need to scroll a lot. So let's call it 40% out of those users would be subjected to the trigger in content locker. If the UX is, let's say, the calculator, maybe 80% of the users could be subjected to content locking and could trigger the locking element. If we would count YouTube, nearly 100% of users are subjected to the content locking. And content locking in their terms is just the video pre-roll placement. So if it's 25E, and let's multiply it by 0.4, it results in generation of 10E, which is lower than here, but again, with completely no ads in the viewport, and still you can use the argument for the logging in. So you could generate some incremental revenue by creating conversions to register. And that users, which will be collected into your database, still have some value. And now this is the only the example of the low variant of the content locking, and also the super high ad density. So if this would be a regular website with, let's say, not 12i here, but just 3i. So let's imagine it's standard ad density. Standard, let's see, 3e for banners and 2.5e for videos. It's just a 5.5e against 10e. So content locking in this scenario would outperform all of the other ads, even while counting with the lower conversion rates of content locking. It can be, of course, combined. You don't need to get rid of your other ads, but this demonstrates clearly the value that the websites or the platforms which currently are not having any kind of ads could use this new method, because it's completely crushing in terms of the CPMs anything else on the market. So no video, no banner can outperform it. So this is the main value. And that's why we developed the whole platform around it. And that's why we are integrating it around the world now pretty successfully. And that's how it generates the most of the revenue of our publishers at the moment. Yeah, so that's the concept of content locking. Let's sum it up. All right, so if you made it this far in the presentation, great job. I honestly didn't expect it to run this long, but let's wrap it up. Ad revenue streams. If your business is 100% reliant on ad monetization, what does that really mean? in most cases, it probably means that you haven't found other ways to deliver the value that would convince users to convert. If you're relying solely on this ad monetization, maybe it's a good moment for you to pivot, to think about, to really challenge the value your website is bringing. But maybe there really is no value outside of fun. So fun, duplicated content, competitor to TikTok, IG, news, or chat GPT. And that's why it's highly probable that in the following years, you will lose the traffic to these platforms. So try to pivot, and if it's possible, try to experiment with softlocking, which is another part. I honestly believe everyone should try this. Why? Because it's super simple to implement. It's not expensive to test, and you can see meaningful results after just 1 or 2 weeks of experimentation. And based on those results, you can forecast how much yearly revenue it might bring in and how many new users you could convert or get to log in. It's a low risk, high upside test, so definitely worth trying. I'm going to type everyone and high chance to convert to logged in subscriber. Paywalling or hardwalling. Earlier, I mentioned that conversion rates here are super low, and that's true. But you'll also notice that big businesses are doing it anyway, and there's a reason for that. Companies like Adobe or FT or Ahrefs can afford to operate with low conversion rates, maybe even under 1% or 0.1%, because their lifetime value per user is massive. Someone subscribing to Adobe Creative Cloud or Ahrefs might end up generating them hundreds of dollars per month. If you compare it to YouTube, where subscription brings $5, $7, or $10 a month, so that's much higher LTV for them, and this justifies this model. Would I advise them to try softballing? Yes, absolutely. I'm sure that their teams are doing it, and in some geos probably it works this way. After all, 99.9% of users are never going to get into platforms like this because they are walled gardens. So they're losing market share to competitors, let's say like Canva, which you can use for free in most cases. And they also offer freemium models, so they are letting users to try most features. That's why they are gaining ground. It's not just the case of online Photoshop, it's case of the financial analysis platforms, and probably we would find some competitors to SimilarWeb and Ahrefs, which are offering freemium models or access, which are just Adwalls. So if you're a corporate business with high conversion value, I'm going to type it here, corporate, hardwalling is probably for you. Yeah, but if your content is not aligned with this, you should probably go for soft locking and adwalling, because as I mentioned, if you will decide in one moment that you will hardwall your platform or your content, in the following months or in the following year, you will lose a lot of traction, because suddenly the traffic generators or your distribution models will start to fail. So that's it, folks. If you're interested in soft locking and adwalling, which is exactly what we've built within our Content Lockers platform, feel free to reach out. Either I or someone from our team will be happy to talk. And if we think it's not a good fit for your product or your business model, we'll be honest about that too. We are not here to waste your time or ours. So thanks again for your attention, and I hope this presentation was helpful in some way. Have a great day. Bye.